Hello everyone. For this project and our populations course, Joanna and I were assigned to Chiloquin community to assess how you think their community and environment affects their health. To start off, let's begin with a little history. Settlers first moved to the Chiloquin area for trading purposes with the Indians in 1826. By 1926, there were 2 district schools in the area. In the 1920s, Chiloquin was a blooming city with just about 2,000 inhabitants, and there were many businesses that provided jobs for the population. However, the Great Depression, fires, and closure of the lumber mills stopped the city's growth and forced people to move out of town. Our project team conducted a windshield and walking survey of the community. City limits fall between Highway 97 and Fairmont-Wainema National Forest, and the town is split by the Sprague River. During the assessment time, which was around 1 p.m., there was almost nobody walking outdoors. Around downtown there are a few cultural accents, like the mural painted on the Chiloquin Youth Center. There were multiple vacant buildings and residential homes that were vandalized and boarded up. The majority of the bars and restaurants within the community had barred windows, which implied safety and crime could be an issue. Sidewalks were only found downtown. Residents have a small Chiloquin open door and tribal health clinic. However, the nearest hospital is 30 miles away. In case of an emergency, there is a Chiloquin volunteer ambulance service. Some of the secondary data that we found included demographics, a little on economy, and information of Chiloquin High School itself. Chiloquin has a population of about 724. Of those, over 65% are Native Americans, 24% Caucasian, and the remaining 10% consist of African Americans and people of mixed or unknown ethnicity. In regards to the economy, there's a total of 425 housing units in the Chiloquin region, among which 35% remain vacant. In 2013, the unemployment rate was 13.7, and the estimated median household income was approximately $35,000, which means that around 40% of the Chiloquin population lives at or below poverty line. At the present time, the big employers are Jeld-Wen, Klamath Tribes, and Klamath County Schools. Now we are going to focus on secondary data and information we collected from our focus groups specific to Chiloquin Junior-Senior High School. Chiloquin High is a mixed junior-senior high school with 164 students. The graduation rate is 68%, and on average 5 students drop out every year. The ethnicities at the high school are similar to the overall Chiloquin population. The absentee rate is currently at 32.4%. Also at the school, 100% of its students have access to free meals as part of a federally funded free and reduced lunch program. In addition, Chiloquin does have a few extracurricular activities. A list of those can be seen on the slide. A big part of this project is photo voice. It is a technique that engages particular population to share their stories through pictures. Participants have the opportunity to connect with stakeholders from their community they live in and advocate for necessary changes to improve their health and well-being. Before we had the students start taking photos, in relation to the Photo Voice project, we conducted 2 focus groups. The first focus group was titled Place Matters. We wanted to assess the youth's opinion about their community, its assets, and challenges. Students were asked to identify things in the community that benefit and negatively affect their health. In the second focus group, we wanted to assess the students' knowledge about tobacco products and the prevalence in the community. Then the students were given guidelines to take pictures of some of the things that we discussed in the focus groups for the Photo Voice project. During the first focus group, students referred to the restored library and community center as the community's biggest asset. This provided a safe place to spend time after school. However, the students' photographs focused on the school's and community's challenges. The first theme focused on the lack of school funding. This lack of funding contributed to 2 different things: only the availability of processed foods coming from the cafeteria, and gaps in the sports played at the high school. The second theme that was brought up by the students, based on the pictures they took, was that the environment was not very clean. They said the area was pretty, but they would like to enjoy clean water, and they were referring to the Sprague River. They also said they would like to see a clean environment and not trash everywhere. Students suggested simple things like planting flowers throughout the community and removing trash from the river. Lastly, but the most important theme that was brought up in our Place Matters focus group was safety, especially at the city park, which the students said had become an attraction for drunk people. All of the students admitted to this being a huge problem in the community and that it negatively impacted people's health. When asked why they don't feel safe, they discussed how bad things happen there. When asked how often they see law enforcement, they said only when they're doing locker searches or when they're looking for someone to arrest. Students suggested that by increasing the presence of law enforcement and installing more street lights, this issue could be resolved. This topic was the biggest takeaway of our focus group, so we decided to investigate further. For that reason, we interviewed a few community members and a county law enforcement officer to learn more about the issue. Safety issues were not only noticed by high school students, but also by community members. The local store manager identified law enforcement officer response time as a big problem. A sheriff's deputy confirmed this statement. He stated that we simply do not have enough manpower to respond. A little different aspect of this issue was brought to light by an employee of Klamath Tribal Health and Family Service. The employee noted that some community individuals do not want outside laws to be enforced on their land. The vice chairman of Tribal Council stated that if there was to be a law enforcement officer, his cases would have to be adjudicated by the tribal court, or he or she would have to have double jurisdiction to serve both the tribal members and the other community population. However, the biggest obstacle is the expansion of the tribal court is too slow due to poor economics. The sheriff's deputy and school resource officer assigned to Henley and Chiloquin High School stated that he is aware of this issue. For that reason, he plans to propose a project that will assure one officer in Chiloquin from Monday through Friday within the next year. The second focus group was focused on tobacco and e-cigarettes. Students said that the regular cigarettes are most prevalent in the community and around the school. They all knew of fellow students, teachers, or family members that smoked. When asked why this product is the most prevalent, they said that cigarettes are less expensive and way easier to get a hold of. When asked how some individuals that are underage get their cigarettes, the students responded by saying, from parents. Parents normally don't hide them, they just leave them out. Another thing that was discussed was the relative absence of e-cigarettes among high school students in Chiloquin. The students in the focus group only knew of one individual who uses them. When asked why more people don't use them, they said because they're too expensive. When asked why they are attractive, they said because all of the different flavors they come in. Lastly, when asked who would use them, one individual responded by saying, probably they are getting more popular for younger people just starting to smoke. All of the students agreed they are bad for your health because they still contain nicotine. Students in the group suggested that the age requirement to purchase both products should be 21. In summary, the most important things the students discussed in the Place Matters focus group was lack of school funding, how the environment is not very clean, and how safety is a big problem. The most important things that the students discussed in the tobacco focus group included how cigarettes are more prevalent than e-cigarettes and they're easier to get a hold of, how there is not much e-cigarette use in Chiloquin because the expense, and all the students felt the minimum age to purchase tobacco products and e-cigarettes should be 21. We would like to thank all of the individuals who assisted us with this project. After gathering the information, we presented to the health class of Chiloquin High School, Healthy Klamath, and Klamath Youth Development Network. One thing that was pointed out was sample size. Due to a number of students not getting their consent signed by parents, our focus group and Photo Voice project was small. However, overall the information that was presented was accepted really well by community members. Most individuals were happy to see that Chiloquin was getting some much needed attention. In addition to that, most were not aware of Chiloquin's safety issue, and lack of law enforcement presence in the community. This presentation has raised awareness, and more community members and stakeholders are aware of the situation that the Chiloquin High School students are currently in.